Okay, thanks for your patience, everyone. We have everybody online now. It's 6:05 on February 7, 2022, and welcome to this meeting of the Astoria City Council. Just for a heads up on format tonight, we have the items surrounding Heritage Square will begin at 7 p.m. So we're going to complete all the items on the agenda other than Heritage Square beginning now. And if we finish before 7, we'll take a recess until 7. Otherwise, we'll just pick up when we get there.
Yeah, and Mayor, we do have one non-Heritage Square agenda item.
That's right.
Dealing with another code amendment. So it's all the Heritage Square and code amendment items, which are advertised after 7, just because we had provided that public notice before the meeting time was set.
I stand corrected. And also, if there are people, and I know there's at least one group that wishes to make a public comment on another topic, we'll have those public comments before we begin the Heritage Square portion of the meeting so that you don't have to wait another 2 hours for your opportunity to make your public comment. With that, a roll call.
Councilor Brownson.
Here.
Councilor Rocca.
Here.
Councilor Herman.
Here.
Councilor Hilton.
Here.
Mayor Jones.
Here. Item 3A is the presentation of the Marina and Company financial statement audit. Ms. Brooks.
Susan, are you there?
Sorry, I didn't unmute myself. I'd like to introduce Tanya Moffett, who is here via Zoom to present the information regarding our audit and our financial statements. And Tanya's with Marina and Company.
Thank you, Susan. I'm Tanya Moffett, and I'm a partner with Marina and Company, and I am here to do a presentation on the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021, audited financial statements for the City of Astoria and Astoria Urban Renewal Agency. We issued an unmodified or clean opinion, which is the highest level of a financial statement opinion that we can give, on January 28th, 2022. Our opinion on the financial statements is limited to the basic financial statements as well as the budget to actual statements and combining statements. We applied limited procedures to the management discussion and analysis and the pension and other post-employment healthcare benefits schedules listed in the table of contents under required supplementary information. The introductory section is not audited by us, and accordingly, we expressed no opinion on that. For the Urban Renewal Agency, we also had an unmodified or clean opinion, which is the highest level of financial statement opinion that we can give. We also performed a single audit. So since the city received over $750,000 of federal awards this last year and spent those, they spent $1,920,328. We did what's considered a single audit, which is a compliance-based audit to ensure that the city is in compliance with the federal regulations. The major program, which means the largest of the ones that we looked at and audited, it was for the federal highway planning construction for the Waterfront Bridge project and the OR 2020 sidewalk project. So we had no findings or anything that we noted during the single audit as well. There were no restrictions placed on our audit, so when we asked for stuff, we got full access to anything that we wanted to look at. And there's no new significant accounting policies between the fiscal year ending June 30, 2020 and the fiscal year ending June 30, 2021. So if you look at those two financial statements and compare them, there's no at least any financial reporting changes that you'd need to be aware of. There are some estimates in the financial statements. So for example, we don't know exactly how long a vehicle is going to last or how long a building is going to last. So the largest estimates in the financial statements are for net pension liability, which is calculated by an actuary. The city does not come up with that number. Then there's the other post-employment healthcare benefits, depreciation, which is how long an asset's going to last, and then compensated absences. We don't know exactly how long, when somebody's going to take vacation. And so they may take vacation later on after they've received a cost of living increase or a salary increase. And so the amount that's listed on the financial statements for compensated absences is at whatever their pay rate was as of June 30, 2021. We also do an auditor's report that's required by Oregon state regulations. So the Oregon state legislature has some very specific things that they want municipal auditors to look at. So for example, we look at ORS 279, which is public purchasing, to ensure that when the city goes out to contract for a project, that it's published in the newspaper, that everybody has an equal opportunity to bid on those. We also look at Oregon budget law to make sure that the city is in compliance with those. And the Urban Renewal Agency. I'm happy to report that looking at those, that list of things that the Oregon State Legislature requires us to look at and we issue a report on, that we had no compliance findings there as well. So overall, it was a great audit. It was a clean opinion and we had no findings. I do want to note that I do have an announcement to make that Marina and Company is pivoting away from doing municipal audits and going to be focusing more on advisory services. We are not going away from the government sector, but we will not be doing financial statement audits in the future. So what that means is you guys will be going out for bid and doing a request for proposals. So we will not be presenting the audit for next year. So if you have any questions for me, either on the audited financial statements or questions about the pivot, please feel free to ask.
Thank you, Ms. Moffett, and appreciate that. And good luck as your company pivots away. I guess we won't see you next year. I just want to make a comment for Ms. Brooks and for her staff. I mean, to get a clean audit, to get such a good report with such a complex budget that we have, that is full of so many opportunities for accounting errors or improper practices, even if accidental, and to get a clean audit is really remarkable. And I know it reflects Ms. Brooks' leadership, her attention to detail, her hard work, and the abilities and competencies of her staff. So I just want to thank our finance department members. The citizens of Astoria are well served by you, public servants. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other counselor questions or comments about the audit?
Well, I'll just say I'll second all the things the mayor just said. I really appreciate the hard work our staff does in dealing with our budget and the monies that have come and gone. And this has been a particularly challenging year. There's been a lot of transition, a lot of changes, and money coming left and right from all different places in different ways. And we really had to navigate an interesting landscape of financing, and to have a clean audit once again is just great. So kudos.
Okay, next will be reports of counselors. I'll start to my right with Counselor Hilton.
Good evening, everyone. My report would start off with, it was a very, very busy last 2 weeks with people coming to me, emailing me, calling me all about the Heritage Square. So it was, it really opened up a discussion for our community. So a lot of people came to see me and talk to me, had coffee with me, and that was fantastic to see the amount of input and output that people were given towards that. Other than that, it was another beautiful week here in the city of Astoria. I want to thank everybody that makes our city run, and those that are helping everyone that are in COVID or getting shots and all the stuff that we do to make this community safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Brownson.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I really don't have anything to report other than being pretty busy with the Heritage Square input and output, as Counselor Hilton so aptly put it. And I took a vacation, so I actually was able to take a pretty good break and get a little rest, and I'm back and invigorated and looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Herman.
Thank you, Mayor. I participated in a virtual roundtable discussion with other elected officials and Congresswoman Suzanne Bonamici, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to sit down, even if virtually, with her and be able to express our most pressing concerns about the community with her. I also attended last Friday's always informative and productive monthly membership meeting of the Astoria Downtown Historic District Association, and I'm very appreciative of all that the association does for not only downtown, but for the community in general. And last, but certainly not least, just an update on what may be somewhat perplexing to some as they drive by it, but work continues on the Astoria Nordic Heritage Park along Marine Drive between 15th and 16th Streets. And most recently, work has included the pouring of the concrete footings for the iconic Midsummer Pole, among other features. The park is still on schedule to be dedicated on June 17th, immediately preceding the start of the Astoria Scandinavian Heritage Festival. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the park would not be happening if not for its two biggest champions, Janet Bowler and Judy Nemi, who were awarded the Chamber's most coveted volunteer award, the George Award, for their work in spearheading the park at the Chamber's most recent banquet. And I don't want to leave out Kevin Leahy either. He was also honored with a George Award, though not for the Nordic Park efforts, but for everything that Kevin is involved in the community. And in his spare time, Kevin serves as the Clatsop Economic Development Resource Director. So congratulations to these three great Astorians. That's it.
Thanks, Counselor. And Counselor Rocca.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Along with Councilor Herman, I did attend the meeting with Congresswoman Bonamici. And those in attendance from all around the county were kind of brought up to date on what she's working on, and also had a chance to tell her about local issues where federal contribution would help. Housing, homelessness, and childcare were very high on everybody's list. I also attended a training with the Oregon Department of Land Conservation and Development to brush up on proper handling of land use issues, served as Astoria's representative at the quarterly meeting of the Columbia River Estuary Study Team, or CREST. And then along with Councilor Brownson, I attended a meeting of small cities of Clatsop, Tillamook, and Columbia counties, sponsored by the League of Oregon Cities, and ably hosted this year by Mayor Bellensiefer in Warrenton. Housing, again, topped the list of issues being discussed. And that's my report.
Thanks, Counselor. The only thing I'll add is I was also at the Chamber banquet with Mr. Estes, and had the honor of presenting Judy Lampy and Janet Bowler their awards, seeing Senator Johnson present Kevin Leahy with his recognition. And I'll add that the other Astorian recognized by the Chamber that night with an award from Senator Betsy Johnson was Chris Lehman, who led the county's vaccine task force over the past year and did a superb job of that, getting us all shots in our arms. With that, move on to any changes to the agenda. Are there any?
No changes to the mayor, except I think maybe as you noted that before we move to the second round of items, that you'll have public comment on the first half of the agenda.
Right. And next we move to the consent calendar. Those items are considered routine and will be adopted by one motion unless a member of the City Council requests to consider an item separately. Members of the community may also have an item removed if they contact the city manager by 5 p.m. on the day of the meeting. And did the public make any requests?
There were no citizen requests.
Any councilor requests?
I have a request to amend the minutes at the top that says Counselor excused Bronson. I would like to have that amended to be absent.
Okay,
Make
and
a
let's see,
motion.
the change to minutes, does that require a vote?
That would require either it be made as part of the consent calendar motion, or else it can be taken off and dealt with separately.
Okay, does anyone object to having the consent calendar include changing the word excused to absent on item 6A? In that case, could we have a motion to approve the consent calendar A through D as noted with the change by Councilor Hilton?
I will so move.
A second?
Roll call.
Counselor Brownson,
Aye.
Counselor Rocca,
Aye.
Counselor Herman,
Aye.
Counselor Hilton,
Aye.
Mayor Jones.
Aye. Regular agenda items are open for public comment following deliberation by the city council. The Zoom audience may use the raised hand feature on your screen if you want to speak to the item. You will be asked to unmute to speak. In order to respect everyone's time, comments are limited to 3 minutes, and state your name and address when making a comment. Item 7A is the annual election of the city council president. The president fills in for the mayor when the mayor is absent. And Councilor Brownson has stepped up to the plate for several years and served as president. Is there any other councilor who would wish to be nominated or volunteer to serve for this calendar year?
Well, I do not want to be council president, but seeing as this is our 4th year in office, I would like to see if Councilor Rocca would be willing to take the lead.
Be willing to do that. I do think, though, that Councilor Brownson has done quite an excellent job, and I also
He has done a fine job, I agree. And I don't want to suggest otherwise.
So either way, it's fine.
All right, are there any other nominations? In that case, could we have a motion, or I'll make a motion that we elect Councilor Rocca as council president for 2022.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 7B is a request for authorization to purchase communications equipment from Day Wireless Systems.
So this agenda item deals with Astoria Dispatch, and Astoria Dispatch has, as you know, has entered into an agreement with the city of Seaside to temporarily merge our dispatch centers, and it's assisting our staff with needed time off while we work through staffing shortages. So the Astoria Emergency Communications Center is seeking to purchase equipment as noted in the council memo. And there are a number of quotes that come from some various vendors, and I'll give an overview. The quote was received from Motorola Solutions for GTR and MLC equipment as noted in the memo in the amount of $14,297.08. Motorola has a cooperative purchasing agreement through Sourcewell, of which City of Astoria is a member, and our code provides that cooperative purchasing may be made without competitive solicitation. There's a quote received from Day Wireless for one 4-channel combiner, licensing and components to be installed for the Megler radio frequency in Seaside in the amount of $18,795. And this purchasing price utilizes the Washington County, Oregon purchasing contract. A quote was received from Day Wireless for one 11 gigahertz microwave link to be installed for the Humbug to Reservoir in the amount of $39,243.05. And again, this price utilizes the Washington County, Oregon purchasing contract. Lastly, a quote was received from Day Wireless for one 11 gigahertz microwave link to be installed for Skyline to Lewis and Clark in the amount of $38,406.41. This purchasing price utilizes the Washington County, Oregon purchasing contract. So the Astoria Emergency Communications Center requested resources which were approved in the fiscal year 21-22 capital outlay for this equipment. It's recommended that council approve the purchase of the microwave links in the amount of $77,649.46, a GTR and MLC combination in the amount of $14,297.08, a 4-channel combiner in the amount of $18,795, with a total purchase of the equipment and labor and supplies for a combined total of $110,741.54. I'm going to ask if Chief Spalding could also speak a bit to this, in that we're looking at equipment now that provides benefits in the here and now, but also what it does in in the future as we move forward with emergency communications. So Chief Spalding, can you speak to that a little bit more?
Sure. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I think the one thing to point out is that none of the equipment is being purchased for a temporary purpose. In other words, with the temporary move to the city of Seaside, we're not buying equipment just to get us through this temporary move. The move to the city of Seaside, the temporary move, did expose some vulnerabilities in our system, and all of the equipment purchases that we're requesting tonight are being recommended through Day Wireless. And Day Wireless is our contractor who does the labor portion of the contract, and they're the ones that run the backbone of the radio system. So some of the advantages to some of the equipment, some of it is to simply replace older, outdated equipment. Some of it is to replace some of the microwave links that basically link the radio signal that goes from the antenna sites between each other and back to the base radio. And then other piece of the equipment are a device that takes the analog signal and converts it to a digital signal. And then the simulcast piece of equipment allows the radio frequency to be broadcast from the base radio out through multiple antenna sites to the various users in the field. And this will also improve the toning out for the fire departments, which we've had some issues with now. And one of the other benefits, of course, regardless of whether we end up in a consolidation option somewhere down the road, or when we move back to our home base in Astoria, we will then have much improved interoperability amongst the different agencies and have better ability to communicate and also deal with some weather related issues we've been having with some of the microwave antennas as well. I have to confess my ignorance. I'm not an expert in this system. I'm more than happy if there's any specific questions about any parts of the equipment. I might know something about it, but I'm more than happy to get a more detailed response from our communications manager who's on vacation.
Any council questions or discussion?
I was just curious. I was having trouble accessing the quote or PDF. Is anybody else? I just wanted to look at that, and
I have the same thing. It has access denied when I hit it.
Brett, would you like me to email it to the council?
Yes, why don't you go ahead and do that?
Okay.
thank you.
Counselors, I would ask that if you do have problems accessing things, to please let staff know in advance of the council meeting, because we can make sure we get it to you in advance. If there's a problem with Granicus, that's something that our provider that gets the packets out, we can get that corrected. So please let Jen or myself know in the future if that happens. We can get that to you.
And I would assume that these numbers on your commentary here are all correct and appropriately reflect the nature of the quotes and the contract.
Yes, that is correct, and it's also been reviewed by the city attorney.
Okay.
I just have my only real comment on this is that, you know, again, we have an opportunity to discover some deficiencies and in overall communication for emergency services across the county, and it's an opportunity to make those corrections and improve our systems. And when we see this, to act on it is the right thing to do. And I'm willing to make a motion as well.
Please do.
I'll second the motion by Councilor Brownson.
Okay, well, let me make the motion here. I move that the city the council approve the purchase of 2 microwave links in the amount of $77,649.46, 1 GTR and 1 MLC combination in the amount of $14,297 and one 4-channel combiner in the amount of $18,795, with a total purchase of the listed equipment, including labor and supplies, for the combined total of $110,741.54.
This is a forward-looking purchase that not only solves current problems, but contributes to better communication around the county, and I'm glad to second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item 7C is a discussion of the Riverwalk wayfinding signs design and public feedback.
In March of 2021, the city was awarded a grant in the amount of $428,408 from the Oregon Department of Parks and Recreation to carry out improvements on the Riverwalk through Uniontown and downtown portions of the trail. And it had a 40% match, which the city of Astoria will provide. And there'll be a total project amount in the total amount of $717,345. I would note that there's a separate grant that was approved for improvements from where this project ends, going into Upper Town to 39th Street, that's being dealt with as a separate effort. So a portion of these grant funds was allocated for installing new wayfinding signs and features along the Riverwalk, including trailhead maps, trolley stop maps, and labels, and mile and quarter-mile markers. Final draft sign designs have been developed by C-Reach, which was a subcontractor of the project management firm for this project. The designs were drafted using input from a stakeholder group as identified in the memo, Parks Department and city staff, and including the city's historian, John Goodenberger, who I see is on the meeting tonight. So there were some final drafts that were provided to the stakeholder group for feedback, and those were posted online for public comment. And those items are being brought to council tonight for final review. It's recommended that council discuss and accept the final changes to be used for fabrication and installation of the signs this spring. And our park director, Jonah Dart-McLean, be able to answer any specific questions you have with regards to this proposal. I would note for the record that there are some trolley stop signs that are going to have some QR codes to be able to have updated information into the various neighborhoods, and the Astoria Downtown Historic District Association has committed to managing that entire project for the Upper Town and Uniontown business groups.
Council discussion.
I think I'd just like to ask Jonah about the process going forward, and in terms of communicating with the West and East End folks and getting the final designs done.
So your question is, what would be the next steps for the design?
I think it may have been more coordinating with the Upper Town and Uniontown groups, how that coordination happened.
Oh, how the process unfolded.
Moving forward, how will you be coordinating with them to be able to communicate what's happening with the Uniontown Association and the Upper Town Business Group?
Well, so we'll continue to do our same outreach with the stakeholder group that we've worked with from the development of the signs. And then at this point, we'll have the drafts of how the signs themselves will be constructed and installed. And then city staff will be working on the content inside the signs for specific information. But we'll definitely be keeping people posted via our social media platform and then also the park's website.
Well, I think it's an excellent effort. I think the signs are really good. I'm appreciative of the fact that that each of the neighborhoods has something, whether it's a full interpretive wayfinding sign or the trolley stop signs, which even the trolley stop signs, and there's 2 of those in Upper Town, include local businesses and local attractions and the QR codes that have more extensive information about the area. And most people today are using their phones when they travel. So tourists in town can hold that phone up by the trolley sign and see what businesses are serving food and selling things in those neighborhoods. I think it's terrific.
I just want to say, I think the signs are beautiful. I love the concept. They look like they'll be durable. I am curious, how long is the projected lifespan?
I don't know the exact lifespan that's expected. They are going to be steel that's powder coated though, so they'll be quite durable. You know, with regular maintenance, they should last certainly in the decades. I couldn't give you a precise number though.
Jonah, how long have our existing informational signs lasted?
Let's see, the earliest one with the Core-10 steel would be in
No, I mean the ones that we're replacing. How long have those been up?
Oh, right. You know, I don't know. Maybe John Gutenberg would be a better person for those interpretive signs, the aluminum ones. But they're certainly showing their age. I would guess they're around 15 or 20 years, maybe.
I'm going to stay there. I've been here 15 years, and I think that they looked. I'm guessing that John. I don't know if you have any more information to provide. I'm guessing 25 plus years is what I would.
Yeah. You're right. The signs were written by Ann Whitty at the Maritime Museum, and she's been gone for quite some time. She's on the East Coast now, so it's at least 20 years.
And that material is very substandard compared to this powder coated steel. The powder coated steel should last a very, very long time.
That's great. And I also just wanted to thank the work of the diverse stakeholders group, which represented people as diverse as representatives from the Clatsop and Nehalem tribes, the Chinook tribe, the Q Center, the Downtown Association and Chamber, as well as the 179 survey participants who overwhelmingly supported the design. So I think they're going to be beautiful, and I can't wait to see them out on the Riverwalk.
Right, if there's no further comment, thanks, Jonah. Could we have a motion? Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any comment from the public on the wayfinding? Okay, seeing no hands raised, could we have a motion?
I will move that we accept the final design to be used for fabrication and installation this spring.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Now we move on to item 7D, which is a consideration to award the contract to Sea Reach Limited for final design, development, fabrication, and installation of the Riverwalk signs using a sole source procurement.
So again, this is now the contract to move forward with construction of the signs that were just approved. And we have had a firm by the name of Greenworks who has been leading us in our project management through this process. And again, we had Greenworks had subcontracted with Sea Reach, which is the Oregon-based sign development firm, to produce draft designs and cost estimates for fabrication and installation. There were additional funds in the grant to cover the final design, fabrication, and installation of the new wayfinding, interpretive, and trolley stop cabinets. And staff had determined that continuing the work directly with Sea Reach to complete this aspect of the project is most advantageous and beneficial to the city. For the city's code for this type of procurement, there is a public notice posted on the website for 10 days to notify of the decision to procure this work using the sole source method. No objections were noted with the posting. And tonight it's recommended that council consider awarding the contract for final design, development, and fabrication and installation of Riverwalk signs to Sea Reach using the sole source procurement method. I would note that the total contract amount for this effort is $115,880. And Mr. Dart McLean can answer any specific questions if you have any.
I'm glad it's an Oregon-based company. Any counselor comment or questions? Any public comment? Let's use the raised hand feature on your Zoom. Could we have a motion then?
Yeah, award the contract to Sea Reach Ltd. For final design, development, fabrication, and installation of Riverwalk signs using sole source procurement.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Final item on the first part of the meeting is 7E. It's a consideration of Pacific Power easement for 1152 Marine Drive, the Astoria Food Hub.
So to accommodate development of the Astoria Food Hub, a new, more robust electrical service is required. The preferred alignment for this new service requires encroachment into the rail bench property north of the building at 1115 Marine Drive. There is an exhibit map which shows where that was proposed alignment and the area needed, and that was included in the packet. So staff reviewed the request for encroachment and recommends an easement with Pacific Power. I would note that approval of an easement for these purposes was already authorized by City Council at your December 6, 2021 meeting. That initial easement document was never fully executed or recorded due to challenges that BNSF Railroad had with the proposal, and that approval will be nullified. Revisions to the alignment and encroachment were made so that BNSF no longer needed to review and approve the proposal, and a new easement document is being brought forward to City Council this evening. Staff are recommending approval of the condition that an updated legal description and exhibit map are provided by a licensed surveyor, and the terms, conditions detailed in the easement document will also need to be satisfied. It's recommended that council approve the easement and authorize the mayor to sign upon staff review and approval of the conditions, including the updated legal description and exhibit map. And Nathan Crater, our city engineer, has been working on this along with Meg Leatherman in our community development department. And if there are any questions, we'll be glad to provide information.
Well, I want to thank staff and also Pacific Power. I know Pacific Power worked very hard with us to work around the issues, the problems that are described in the memo and make this feasible. So thank Pacific Power as well as engineering and community development staff. Any questions or comments from council? Any comment from the public? Okay, can we have a motion?
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the easement and authorize the mayor to sign upon staff review and approval of the conditions of approval, including an updated legal description and exhibition map for the Pacific Power easement for 1152 Marine Drive, Astoria Food Hub.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that concludes the first 5 items before we get to the Heritage Square portion at 7 p.m. At this time, I would invite anyone who would like to make public comment on any other topics not already covered if you're present, you can come up to the podium and Ms. Benoit will get you the microphone. Sure. Come on up, please. Just you can state your name and address.
Good evening. My name is Steve Kinney and my wife Denise Kinney, and we are owners of the Astoria Downtown Market. I'm a little nervous, so bear with me. I have questions, and if you want to interrupt me and answer them as we go or answer when I'm done, there's not a whole bunch. So I would like to know what's being done about the homeless situation in Astoria, particularly next to our store on Commercial Street. Still problems. quite a few problems all the time, every day. I've also heard rumors now of them going to be sleeping downstairs. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not sure what's going on there yet. I'm wondering about the permits and the building codes for the city of Astoria. There's already, excuse me, there's already a warming center on 11th Street, I believe it is, up here at the church. And I think they're getting ready to close down for the summer or spring time. So the new housing that's going to be going in over here or trying to go in, wondering about parking spots. Is there going to be parking there also? Because we're giving away parking areas for drinking and eating establishments downtown. I think there's 4 or 5 or 6, I'm not sure. I haven't counted them all, but I see they're there. I don't think anybody on commercial can have them that I know of, or nobody wants them. I'm not sure which it is. One of my ideas that I did have to help us in our situation would be to, if you have an officer that's available, or if they're coming through town, if they just park there next to the store across the street, I guarantee you half of those people will scatter because they do not like that. And I don't mean we have to hire somebody else or anything like that, but I know there's paperwork that they have to do. And if they can do it while they're sitting there or across the street or whatever, that would be great. And I think it would be a huge help. I even thought about maybe having somebody walk the beat up and down Commercial, just go from one end of the town to the other. But there again, I don't know what the staffing is. So and I think that's about all I had for now.
Well, thank you very much for your comments and questions. Now, I'll briefly address a few of those. And I know that I'll call it you in a minute, sir. I know that your partner there has come to our Homeless Solutions Task Force meetings. I appreciate that in the past. And numerous times when I've walked by, I usually walk by your store probably 4 to 5 times a week. And frequently seen either officers there or the CBH representative. You may know that Clatsop Behavioral Health has 2 people that now frequently visit your neighbor and to get to know all the people that are there and try to help them address their issues. I forget what that position is called, crisis response, I think. And the 2 homeless liaison positions that were filled last year as a result of the work of the Homeless Solutions Task Force that's now funded by a couple of partners, Clatsop Community Action and Clatsop County. They're present in the area. I know that you and I, we've had many conversations about your neighbor, and I've had many conversations with them, as has the chief of police 10 times more than I have. And they have made great efforts to enforce their codes of conduct. I know they've banned quite a few people from their premises that were in violation. As you know, there's a number of social service organizations, county and city organizations, private organizations, and individuals. You asked your opening question, sir, was, what's being done about the homeless? I mean, there's a lot of people that are constantly working on this issue. It's a very complex issue. There are, we get the question, why can't you ban loitering? It's because it's been found to be unconstitutional. Loitering ordinances are illegal. And so I think continuing to provide access to services is one thing. We're gonna have a work session on the 16th. Yeah, so if you want to dial in or watch the recording later, all of our meetings, by the way, are recorded. So if you go to the city's website, I know a lot of people, you work different times. Some people work in the day, some work at night. If you miss any of our meetings, they are recorded and those recordings are online. At our work session, we'll be discussing the potential for an exclusion ordinance so that people that have multiple fences in the same area can be excluded from that area. There's a small number of people that results in the vast majority of calls. The majority of our homeless population are not causing problems either at your store or anywhere else. So the police department and other organizations are trying to target those individuals with the services they need to remove them from a situation where they're disturbing the public. So there's a lot of work going on. I would thank you for attending the host meetings in the past and encourage you to look at the recordings we have of the past meetings to see what work is being done. I can't, and I'll turn it over to Mr. Estes.
Yeah, and you asked questions about them wanting to create a shelter in the basement of the building. The Oregon State Legislature this last year passed laws which says that those types of uses cannot be prohibited by cities. And so with regards to zoning, those would be permitted outright per state law through the legislature. That doesn't take away the need to meet building code requirements. And as of this point, they have not secured the necessary permits to be having sleeping facilities down in the basement. I understand that they may be working on that. But those building permits would need to be secured by our community development department and would need to be secured. The state legislation does not supersede building codes, but zoning, it does supersede any city regulations dealing with that.
So I thank you for your questions. I thank you for coming tonight, and keep coming. If there's issues that merit a police response, please continue to call the police so that they can come and take care of those issues. And I'm sorry we don't have time to give a more thorough overall answer to the question, what are we doing about the homeless? Thank you. And sir, were you next? If you could just state your name and address, please. Wait, we can't hear you without the microphone.
Oh, y'all got, I know one thing about Steve's business down yonder. That guy next door, I don't know his name, Cosio or something, but he calls the cops on me because I'm not supposed to be on the sidewalk. I'm a passing through homeless guy. I've been here 2 years. And y'all seem to really spoil the homeless. But about that stealing that goes outside that store, Steve, ridiculous. But about not being able to sit in front of his store in chairs because some other people come over, ridiculous. Y'all, if you move in all these homeless people by making them welcome, feeding them 2 squares a day, what are you going to do? You're going to have San Francisco. You're going to have a Democrat Pelosi in this town. I really feel bad for Astoria. This is quite a town. I mean, you got music, you got art, and you got history. And what drawing is to the eye, what drew me here, because I'm an artist and a sculpture guy. I've been doing it since 2014. I'm an old man, but I know one thing. This town is tough. That guy calls the cops on me, and he had some guy named Garth threaten me out in front of the store. I mean, you got to control these homeless people, man. Really, that's about all I got to say. But Steve's business, geez, I can't believe it. He's a good old boy, Democrat, but other than that, he's a good guy. Anyway, thanks a lot, y'all.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other public comment on issues not related to Heritage Square? I think your hand was up first. You have to come to the mic, though, and give your name and address, please.
My name is Lindy Edwards. I'm currently, well, I don't have an address because I am homeless also. And what I wanted to say is that a lot of these industries really are not paying a good wage. I mean, enough to secure a place to live. I mean, I worked at Bornstein for almost a year. We were getting paid very, very little. And then, you know, a lot of the other industries are not paying enough to secure a roof as far as like, you know, the rental market going up here, which I've seen it do over the past, you know, few years. So it would be good to have some sort of low income housing for people who are working and, you know, being underpaid. And the other issue is, I'm just wondering like how well decriminalization is working of drugs, because having, you know, been homeless here, and currently homeless still, I see that a lot of these issues and disturbances are resulting from the fact that, as far as personal use, that's one thing, but like even the sales seem to have been like completely ignored. It just seems that it's becoming like even more of a problem. And, a lot of the people that are homeless are doing a lot of, hard drugs, a lot of meth, there's, there's heroin. It's almost lawless at this point. And it's frustrating. I would hope that we could like make it mandatory for rehab and, put in, job skills or continuing education or GED like component to the help that's already there. I think the resources here are great. I can actually attest to the fact because I use them frequently. So I know that we do have a lot of those resources and I'm thankful for them because I'm from Los Angeles, and in Los Angeles, being homeless is it's a death sentence. So thanks for letting me come up here and use your resources. I only did so because I'm a domestic violence victim, and I do very much see how, the community treats us. And I would like to say that, we're not all, inclined to criminal behavior. So that was all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments. Ma'am, I believe you're next. And as long as it's not related to Heritage Square, because that'll be next.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann Bucks, 12 at the P.O. Box in Astoria. Mayor, I don't know if you got an email that I sent with a little film I had made with a man who was targeted with $93,000 of fines accumulating regarding his chronic homelessness. He's someone I talk to frequently, I've known over the years, and I hope you had a chance to look at that. I called collections management, and they said if I got an authorization to advocate or negotiate for him, we could try to work that out with his authorization. But I would ask from the city end that if you have past delinquent camping tickets that have now been ruled unconstitutional and illegal, there might be some way, I'm not a billing expert or an accountant, but a way to snatch those back out of collections. So if he does get gainful employment, he is not garnished up to 20% or so, because the psychological trauma is causing him suffering. And additionally, I want to just throw out the term housing first. I'm not sure if it's come up at meetings. I just learned this term and it literally blew my mind. And the idea is to have housing for humans and not require them to necessarily have psychiatric services or drug treatment yet. The idea is that once you start taking showers, eating food, wearing clean clothes, your whole life improves and you start to do better. And the person who told me that was the Merwin's gal at Innovative Housing, because I was struggling with the drug trafficking that's going through that building. And I was like, what the heck? This is crazy. This is really close to our elected leaders. I don't want them to get hurt. And the housing first model is really an interesting concept. And I think we need to talk about the pros and cons and get some housing for the humans. That's all.
Thank you very much for your comment. So at this point, it's 6:58. The Heritage Square portion of the meeting has been advertised as starting at 7. So we're going to take a few minutes to before we move forward into that, to give people a chance to get online who are here for the Heritage Square discussion.